Hey y'all, today we are diving into the true or cool winter color palette. If you're unfamiliar with seasonal color analysis or personal coloring, this is where you look at your natural features from your hair color, your skin tone, to your eye color to figure out which colors will work best for you. While this isn't a guide you have to follow exactly, it's going to be a great eye-opening experience. At least it was for me when I found out which colors worked best for me. It's going to help you realize what colors can be like your power colors. Like when you're having a blah day, what colors can you throw on to make you look and feel your best? Today we are focusing on the true winter or cool winter. When you're looking at the primary flow chart, which is just 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall or autumn, that winter you see there, that is the original or true winter color palette. When you expand it to 12 seasons, which each season is broken down into 3 sub-seasons, this is the middle season. To go slightly on the darker side of the scale, where colors have a bit more of a black tone added to them, that would be our deep or dark winter. On the other side, you would have colors where our winter colors are getting a little bit more warmth, thanks to the influence of that palette's neighboring chart, which is bright spring, which is a warmer season. The true winter is the coolest season of all of the winter palettes because it doesn't have the influence of deep autumn or bright spring. And the color palette on the flow chart, which is opposite of true winter, is going to be true summer. Both are cool seasons, except where true winter has a bright clarity to it. True summer is going to be more muted out or have elements of a gray, dusty quality to it. Colors that are better suited for a true summer on a true winter, they might just look a little kind of muted out. It won't make someone look their best. It will just kind of feel kind of blah. True winter, it's a high contrast season. If you're thinking about true winter as real world, true winter is going to be that idyllic winter scenario where you have the beautiful evening sky and then a fresh bed of snow with the reflection of the light. That way you have the contrast between the evening sky and the bright snow on the ground. Think of that as your visual reference. Within winter, everything is very cool. That means we're pretty absent of warmth within the features. That means there's no golden, yellow, orange, or peachy tones really found in the color palettes. Everything has more of a blue, silver, purple undertone to them. Some great celebrity examples that we have for our true or cool winter celebrities are going to be Brooke Shields, Daniel Day Kim, George and his wife Alma Clooney, Janelle Monáe, Lauren Graham, and Liv Tyler. When you look at these celebrities, they have a range of different skin tones, but you'll notice they have an overall coolness. While you might see them on a red carpet wear warmer colors or gold jewelry, when you look at them when they have silver jewelry on or their colors that they're wearing are a little bit more cooled down, you'll just notice all their features really kind of pop and sparkle. If you want to learn how to create this true or cool winter makeup look, stay tuned because we're going to jump right into the video. So we are going to start with the eyes today to create our true or cool winter look. I like using a primer because some of the true winter shades, they have a little bit more richness to it. They have a little bit more depth. So with any type of color like this, I really want to make sure I'm setting it up for success. So this is my Hourglass Veil Eye Primer. To continue with kind of prepping my eyes and setting them up for success so the shadows I'm going to apply blend a little bit easier, I'm going to take my Well People pressed powder and I'm just going to set that primer base down. This is a translucent powder. You could use your face powder or you can use a skin tone eyeshadow, just something to kind of set down that creamy base so your product spreads a little bit easier. I'm going to be using a 5 color palette from Dior. This is in shade 76922. It is more of a neutral leaning cool palette. You do have a pop of this purple shimmery tone and a little bit more of almost like a pastel-y pinky with a translucency, which will really help to play up that wintry contrast. I'm going to use my Hourglass number 3 flat shading brush and I'm going to use this shade right here, the matte kind of taupey color. When I get to this outside corner, I'm going to use the point of my brush, a little bit of extra product, and start kind of working this shade up to elongate and lift my eyes. I'm going to apply a second layer just to add a little bit more intensity to the look. My coloring is not true or cool winter coloring. I fall into summer, which is also a cool undertone season, but it's more on the muted grayed out side. So this look will have a little bit more clarity. The chroma is higher than what is best suited towards my features, but for someone who does have the true winter coloring, this look will look a lot more subdued in a way. Now I'm going to use a Morphe M330, which is a pointed or tapered blending brush, and I'm going to go into the middle shade, which is a slightly deeper, more matte finished rosy brown color. And with this shade, I want to use a light hand to really kind of exaggerate and add some intensity to the shape that we're creating. Number 20, which is a small domed shape blending brush, mixed together that mid-tone shade we just used in the deep matte purple. Now I'm going to use a very, very light hand to start etching out a little bit of an eyeliner shape on the outer third of my eye, and then work it into this outer corner of my eye. When I have less product on my brush, I'm going to gently taper it about halfway through the socket line. If your edges aren't perfect right now, it's okay. We can go back and correct that. I'm going to use my blender brush just to soften my edges, diffuse my product a little bit more. I'm going to go back to my Morphe M330. First shade we applied all over the lid, right through the socket on this outer corner, just to really help soften this look without doing away with that smoky feeling, because we want to create a nice gradation of color. I'm gonna go back to my Hourglass number 3 brush, that shimmery purple shade. And I want to work the shade from my lash line up to where we started adding the depth in our socket line. Morphe M330, soften the perimeter. Now I want to go back in with the 2 matte colors that we used to apply in this outer corner, build up intensity. This will be different for everyone, how much intensity you like. I really want to kind of mimic that fun, magical effect that the winter season has. Blend over. Maybelline Hyper Easy Eyeliner. Now your eyeliner does not need to be perfect because we are going to go through and smudge it. I'm going to take a Laura Mercier flat eyeliner brush, and I'm going to use the matte purple shade to smudge over the black liquid liner. Since my eyes are hooded and slightly downturned, I want to find the point of my lash line where my lashes and the eyes start slanting downwards, and tilt my chin back so it stretches the lid. Find that point, go just up to the socket, drag it down. This doesn't need to be perfect because we are going to smudge it out again. Now I'm going to use my Wayne Goss number 20, no additional product, and I'm going to use that just to buff over again. When you're smudging out your eyeliner, you might notice fall down because you're buffing product. If anything like this happens, it's okay. This is why we are doing eyes first. Now I'm just going to use a cotton pad and a little bit of my Bioderma to clean up under my eyes and perfect the shape that I want at the outer corner. Doing that alone just really helps lift this outer corner of the eye. If this looks a little harsh right now, we're gonna go through and soften it because we have to connect the lower lash line. I'm gonna get the rest of the complexion makeup on so I can gauge just how much I want to play up this lower lash line. For your complexion, just use whatever foundation, concealer you would normally use, but you remember skin tones for a true winter would be on a cool undertone, meaning they have got more blue, pink, red undertones. I'm using the L'Oreal True Match Nude, and I wear shade 0.5-2, and then the True Match Eye Cream and a Concealer by L'Oreal in shade N1-2. So I'm going to apply these and we'll be right back to finish off our base. Foundation and concealer are both on. I did build up my base a little bit more because with my skin tone, I have a little bit more red. Sometimes these richer colors with a little bit more opacity, higher levels of contrast, for me and my skin tone, they can emphasize redness. So I need to make sure I'm really working on the base to perfect everything so the colors we're applying on top look their best. When you're looking at adding warmth or structure to the face, you want to look more for a true kind of ashy contour shade versus a bronzer, because a bronzer will normally have a higher concentration of a gold, yellow, orange, or peach undertone that could look really off on your cool and stark complexion. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shape to my face, much like we did with Deep Winter. I'm gonna use my Fenty Matchstick in the shade Amber with a rougher number 18 brush. And I'm gonna use this just to almost do like a Brontour effect. So not quite where I would apply a contour, but not where I would bronze, kind of right in between. I'm gonna work this color right in the middle. To really play up the contrast factor, I'm gonna take a little bit of a highlight. And make sure your highlight tone is a nice kind of icy tone. I am using the Butter Highlight from Physicians Formula. This is in the shade Pearl, one of my all-time favorite highlights. With a Real Technique setting brush, I'm just going to stamp that into the high points. If you're not quite sure where to apply your highlight or your contour, use your hands. Feel where the low of the face is. Press on your skin. Feel where the bones and the fat recedes. Feel where it comes forward. Wherever it comes forward and projects is where you want to apply your highlight. I always like to take a little bit of highlight right in the temple, because as we get older, we lose some of the volume in that area that we have when we're younger, which can make the face look a little bit more gaunt. So as a little bit of a anti-aging perk up, I always like to highlight right here in the kind of recessed area of the temple, just to add a little bit more. And if you want to fake a little bit of a cheek filler look, smile, find the high point of the round, and just highlight right through there. Before I go through and add powder so we can add some of our powder color products on top, I want to add a little bit of something to the lips just so I can start gauging how much blush I want, how much more intensity I want on the eyes. I'm going to use my Clio Melting Sheer Matte Balm in the shade 04 Burgundy Bear. This is a product I've not heard anyone else talk about. It's almost like someone put a soft focus veil on your lips to blur any type of lip lines or texture and add just a hint of a rich burgundy berry color. I'm going to take a little bit of my By Terry Hyaluronic Loose Powder, tap over my concealer just to make sure no creasing, and I'm going to use my IT brushes for Ulta number 108 just to set down our liquids. I want to finish off the lower eye makeup and connect it to the upper, so I'm going to add a little bit of cheek color just to see how things are going to flow together. I'm going to use one of the Clinique Cheek Pop Pearls. This is in shade 06 Garnet Pop, and I'm going to be using one of my favorite affordable blush brushes. This is a EcoTools Precision Blush Brush. And I always like to layer the blush right over the highlighter, tie up on the cheeks, one to lift the face, but also to really add that nice kind of youthful fullness to the look. Going back to the Hourglass number 3 brush, I'm going to start with that first shade that we used all over. I'm going to use the point of that just to run along my lower lash line, all the way from the inner corner, the outer corner, and when you get to this edge right here, we're just going to connect. BK Beauty number 201, just going to run right over and soften that. When you get to this outer corner, just really make sure you're working in little circular buffing motions. Lift in the direction that you want the eye to go. Flat Laura Mercier brush. I'm going to pick up some of the darkest shade and very tightly, I'm going to flip the brush up almost at a 45-degree angle, go from that outer corner and just kind of press and just connect to the upper eye. Wayne Goss number 20, and I'm going to buff that out. Continuing with our Wayne Goss number 20, matte rosy brown in the middle of the palette, and I'm going to buff over that darker shade we just applied. I'm going to work this about 3/4 of the way across my lower lash line. Hourglass number 3 brush, I'm going to go into that shimmery purple shade, focusing more so on the point of the brush, and I'm going to wiggle this right in the very middle of my lower lash line. BK number 201 to give that another buff. And when I get to this outer corner, if it's still not blended as much as you would like, don't worry. You can go through, spend a few extra moments, and taper it in and blend. Thrive Cosmetics Brilliant Eye Brightener. This is in the shade Estrella, and I'm going to use this to highlight the inner kind of corner of my eye, this light shimmery tone. And I'm going to use this shade to pack on top of the Thrive Cosmetics Cream Shadow. And now we need to add some mascara just to really help drive the look home. I'm going to be trying a newer mascara. This is from the Creme Shop, and this is the Wisp Me Away Fiber Lash Mascara in black. This is a big brush, so we'll see what happens. I'm just going to apply a very generous coat to my upper lashes. Well, that was a slightly underwhelming mascara. I'm going to take a little bit more of my By Terry loose powder. I'm going to use the BK Beauty number 201, and I'm going to go through, buff under my lower eye. I want to add more to the lips. I really want to play off that winter contrast and just really go for it, because that is one of the beauties about the true winter season. You can do so much with the color. NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner. This is in the shade Whipped Caviar. The Etude Dear Darling tint, and this is in the shade Sweet Potato Red. I'm going to apply a little bit more of the Clinique Cheek Pop Blush and Garnet Pop. And then to add that nice kind of like snowy, icy glow to the skin, I'm going to use my Well People powder again. I'm going to use my La Mer powder brush. Buff right over the skin. This is our final makeup look using the True or Cool Winter color palette. True Winter or Cool Winter is all about cool undertones, bright colors with clarity. With this being a high contrast season, just think about winter. So you've got that high contrast from the winter sky and the snow on the ground. Two extremes of color, which is what we're going for here. Within the True Winter color palette, you will have contrast between the iris, the white of the eye, the overall skin tone, the hair color. With clothing, True Winter is one of the seasons that can really do well with wearing black and white, and that is true black, true white, which is colors that are quite hard to play with in the seasonal color analysis. Today we went for more of like a evening look using the palette. You can definitely tone it down, do more of a softer lip, or go with a little bit of a softer eye, but you want to maintain that contrast to really help make your features pop. If you found today's video helpful, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, share this video with a friend, and stay tuned because over the next few weeks we will be doing the other color seasons. So if you haven't seen the last video in the series, it was the Deep Winter color palette. I will have that linked down below and on the end screen. I will see you all in the next video. Bye y'all.